Hello and welcome to Enterprise Friday, reaching you live from Enterprise TV. It's really good to have you all join us this beautiful morning. My name is Jane. I know, and I'm not here alone.
Yes, and I am Henry Igwebike. How are you, Jane?
I'm very well. How was yesterday for you?
Yesterday was okay, fine, splendid. The 1st of May, that is.
Workers' Day.
Yes, of course. And of course, it's very important that we, say congratulations to Nigerian workers and workers around the world for celebrating yesterday and hope that it extends, not just yesterday, but beyond.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite a celebration for a number of workers yesterday, but for some people, it was a roller coaster of complaints of hardship or the other. All right, so that's not where we are beginning today. We are going into the newspapers and find out the news making the rounds, and we're beginning with the Guardian newspaper.
Yes, but just before we get to the newspaper, I think it's very important that we let people be part of what we do here. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. And equally, you can read out everything we have, right here on enterprisetvnews.com. And right after our newspapers, we'll be moving straight to our main conversation.
For today, right? So we begin with the Guardian newspapers and what's the news making the rounds? I'll start with federal government probes student loan disbursement as now fund welcomes scrutiny. As well as still in the big story on the Guardian newspaper, we have Tinubu labor clash on economy as NLC, TUC push workers demand. Still on Guardian newspaper, you also find a lot of news making the rounds there. Religious organizations account for 63% of noise pollution complaints, says Lagos
That's
government.
a big one there. Equally have Catholic priests protest kidnapping of 47 members and killing of two. But this takes maybe let's just start off our discussion here from on the bottom strip of the Guardian newspaper. There we have the story of
Okay, how negligent, poor maintenance culture made Nigeria one stadium nation. Wow.
Very, very true.
Very true. I can't agree less with you, Henry.
Yes.
Because not just about this, we all know that there's been this regular saying that anything that comes out from the federal government, state government, is usually a very poor maintenance culture.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this?
Very, very true. Poor maintenance culture. I do not know if Nigeria would ever, in the nearest future, host any international event again. The last time we had it was in 2003 when we had when Nigeria actually hosted the Junior World Cup.
Junior World Cup,
Chad, I
yes.
guess. So that was when all our stadia they were just at their very best. Bauchi, we had Bauchi, we had Kaduna, Kano, I think Maiduguri, we had Enugu, we had Lagos, and Calabar.
Why do we always have to wait till we have an event before we fix our house?
Well, that is how despicable leadership in this country is. It's so very unfortunate. Like Nigeria, a country of over 200 million people, can only boast of just one stadium, and that is the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo, built by the state government. So what that means basically is that anything built by the federal government, it cannot last because the maintenance culture is poor. Look at the Abuja, the Moshood Abiola International Stadium. It's now becoming like an event ground for parties and faith organized organizations and all. That's where they hold their meetings and all that.
And
it's so lamentable at the same time, really despicable to say the least, because these are supposed to be national assets.
Exactly.
That are up and coming outlets should readily use to train themselves and keep fit. But of course, that is not the case.
Henry, you can say that again over and over again. We can't overemphasize the need to always ensure that we keep our house clean.
Mm.
And then you say only the federal government, I say everyone. Because when you go to some parastatals, although I can say for the private sectors, they are doing, well enough. But then if we have the government's assets being, kept unclean, I call it unclean because when you only realize you have to clean your house when you're expecting guests, it means you're not clean. So I hope that the appropriate quarters, the federal government, the state government will do justice to this.
To that very story. Now let's equally look at that other one you talked about, noise pollution. Where is it exactly?
Yeah, the noise pollution with religious, it's still in Guardian
Okay, still on the Guardian
newspaper.
newspaper,
Yeah,
right?
religious organizations account for 63% of noise pollution complaints.
Yes,
says
it's actually very, very sad, especially if you live in Lagos. It's so bad that you see churches, a proliferation of churches all over the place.
And then coming to the streets where we have people battling aged, battling blood pressure or one thing or the other, and then you have to come up with your noise. Then do we have anything like religious blackmail? Because when you complain, when you walk up to people
exactly,
and say, "Oh, you're making noise," and people look at you and
like,
is this weird?
Yeah,
This is religion. People are preaching to you.
Yeah.
So it's not weird. You don't have a right to meddle into my privacy or my private life. I need a moment of rest. Is that when you have to choose to come to the street to make noise?
Yeah, because I so
at this
much
age
believe.
and time,
Yes,
I
because
don't expect that. Even churches, you hear noises from churches. You don't hear noise. You don't. It's called noise pollution, and I can't agree less with the government.
Very, very true. Because for me, I sincerely feel that any spiritual dealing is a personal thing. You know, that's why it's often said, the Holy Writ even have it, that if you must pray, that if you must pray, that you should go to your closet and have that done. You know, rather than coming to the open and making that another person's business that wouldn't want to get involved in the business.
You can't force me to listen to you.
Yeah.
All right. So my private or my spiritual life is personal to me, just like you said. So you can't. It's noise. It's pollution. I think we should take caution to that.
Very true. All right. So from the Guardian newspaper, let's maybe take a move to another one. I think the Punch newspaper, isn't it?
Yeah, the Punch newspaper is next, and we have political shutdown looms over FBI's Tinubu file release.
Yes, and we only have electricity. Or should we take that before going into other matters coming from the news? Okay,
let's go ahead. We can return to it. Let's go ahead.
Okay, yes. Let's just take a look at other matters from the Punch newspaper. Electricity subsidy spending balloons, so 762 billion naira. And just beside that particular story, we have Wike for Baba to begin dialogue after Oshoba's mediation.
And on the big story there, still on the Punch newspaper, we have Labour pushes for tax cuts, pension overhaul in fresh 20-point demand.
Yes, on the bottom strip there, we have 73 killed, 393 injured in Lagos-Ibadan expressway crashes in 3 months.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we return, the main conversation continues. Don't go away.
Nice to be back, and it's still Enterprise of Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television, and it's still newspapers segments. And joining us right about now is Barrister Vanso Feli, Barrister, Law Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so very much, Barrister.
Good morning, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so very much.
Very well.
Yes. So let's. I think we were on the Punch newspaper, isn't it?
Yes, we're on the Punch newspapers, and we were on the big story. Yeah. Well, before we went on break.
Yes.
To have you all join us again. Labour pushes for tax cuts, pension overhaul in fresh 20 points.
Yes. Yes. 73 killed, 393 injured in Lagos-Ibadan expressway crashes in 3 months. Yes, but we're talking about the issue, the main talking point here. Political showdown looms over FBI's Tinubu file release. Mr. Pansufeli, I'd love you to speak to this particular matter. The FBI, the DEA have been asked to wait for 90 days just before they would release their findings. But of course, those who have applied for it to be sooner are saying that there's no need for them to have allowed it last for 90 days. This is something they've been investigating for so many years. Why must they have 90 days for them to bring out their findings?
Well, they know the workings of their own structure. Perhaps the issue in question has been one that has been of a heated. A lot of people need that document for several reasons. Okay, but as it stands now, I mean, nothing can be done because he's not the president and he has immunity. Okay, until perhaps his tenure elapsed. Okay, that's for Nigeria. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but for those who are saying that they don't want to wait for 90 days, what exactly do they want to do with it? Until, I mean, he has more than 90 days before his tenure expires as a president.
Yeah, yeah.
So why the rush? Why do you want to have it? Okay, you want to have it to use it.
A lot of people are just eager to know, what it contains. He's the president, so we don't have to wait until his tenure elapses. So a lot of people are just, I mean, should I
And
say
2027 is by the corner.
Yes, 2027 is by the corner. But what I'm actually saying is, you are asking for it now. If you get it now, what will you do with it now? Okay, and we're not even sure whether it's positive or negative, because a lot of people just believe it's going to come out negative. You understand? But the West has also been playing politics with that same thing for a long time. I mean, before the election, you should have released it at that time. Is it that FBI didn't have it before the election, or because Atiku went as far as he could go to ensure he uses it in court to discredit? Because truly, if you have any of those such issues, it's one of the grounds for disqualification.
Very true.
Okay, it's one of the grounds for disqualification. Forgery, or you have drug issues, or you have anything that is criminal in nature, it's a ground for disqualification. So the time it was most needed, why didn't the FBI provide? That's what I'm saying. Why the rush now? Because you can't use it for anything meaningful. Even if he does just one time, it's already in history that it was Nigeria.
Well, a new sheriff is in town. That was when Joe Biden was still on the corridors upon the United States. So we do not know the understanding between Nigeria and the United States. Donald Trump is another different human being who is very abrupt with what he wants. He doesn't cut corners. If you need to be disgraced, he helps make that possible. So they need to have it very soon. Is good to so many Nigerians, actually, especially to the opposition. Yes, so but let's take a look at the
very start before we proceed. I would just want to ask if you think that it will amount to anything. I mean, the position of the president if the outcome comes out negative, because everyone they are expectant and curious to know. Because they expect that it to be negative, just like you said. So if it comes out negative, what do you expect?
Do you think our judiciary will work with that, knowing that 2027?
No, it's going to affect him for the next tenure. Not anything on this, because the cases for this have been rested. So you cannot even go and revive or relitigate the matter that's already rested. So in 2027, it's going to be a brand new candidate. Because once his tenure elapses, he's as the same as every other contestant. The only thing is that he's not incumbent. Okay? So at that point, you can now put this forward to INEC and commence whatever action you feel you could commence on the basis of. But it will then become a pre-election matter. It will then become a pre-election matter. In which case, you don't even need him to contest. You just have to go to court to stop him from contesting. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. It become pre-election because the issues are quite glaring. It's qualification issues. Qualification issues are pre-election matter. You come to the Federal High Court to have that contested without evidence if it turns out negative. But some time ago, the president also said it that the document should not be released because it's going to embarrass him.
Exactly, he said so.
So the tendency that this thing will come out positive is very slim. Whatever it is, God help him. It's a lesson to all of us. Your past, you need to make sure you keep your past as clean as possible because you don't know where you find yourself tomorrow and whoever will want to use it against you.
Very, very true. And just to let us know, those that were involved in that particular case in the 90s, Bola Tinubu, Mueez Akande, Lee Andrew Edwards, and Abiodun Agbele. So these are 4 people that are being investigated for the said crime. But let's take a look at other matters here. Wike Fubara to begin dialogue after Oshoba's mediation. Is Fubara giving in?
Is Fubara giving in? Fubara is already out. It's already sold to them now because he's gone to Wike. He's gone to see the president in London. He's been moving up and down lobbying to find his way back. Now it's even a game of survival, not even a game of rights for Fubara. For the many of us and many others who are talking about it is your rights. You shouldn't be suspended because the law didn't say you can be suspended. All that now, this government have turned the office of a governor to that of reduce it to that of a mouse. Because now, governors, not only lawmakers who go bare cap in hand and kneel down for their superiors, governors now have been reduced. Did you watch the interview between Rufai and the governor of Abia State?
Yes.
Did you see how the governor was evading the question on emergency? When Rufai asked him that, would it be nice if the president declares an emergency in Abia State and suspend you as a governor? Just like he did. He couldn't answer it. He didn't want to go there. He was pandering,
It was just going back and forth.
Yes, governors are not scared. Governors who are sub-sovereigns, governors who are what the president is to the center in their region. And now, so even Obasanjo, even when Obasanjo was going about his state of emergency, it didn't reduce the office of the governor to what we see today. You understand? Ministers, that of ministers, even nothing to write home about. His son is elevated above every other minister. That one is established already. So now he has moved from there now to governors. So this is a government that is going to give remarkable precedents in the history of Nigerian politics because everything will be reduced.
Well, can we say this is a mutilation of the Constitution, or is it a debasing of the Constitution? What exactly
it is? It is a total disregard to the Constitution. The Constitution you took an oath to defend. And the only institution that could have corrected it was the National Assembly. The only institution that have capacity under Section 88, 89 of the 1999 Constitution is the National Assembly, through their oversight function, could have commenced or served the president a notice of impeachment.
So why are they not doing anything about it?
They are not doing it because he bought the National Assembly even before the proclamation to establish the National Assembly. When you have an Akpabio as the Senate president, okay, is it Akpabio that will commence impeachment proceedings against the president? Akpabio, who was smuggled into APC, running away from his past, and made whatever it was made. Is it the one that's going to fight the president? It won't happen. So it's a very bad political system. The president have used his style of politics to capture the masses, capture the National Assembly, capture the judiciary, and now he's capturing the governors. So at the end of the day, by the time he leave office, he would have turned Nigeria into a monarchy, an established monarchy, where everything will revolve around him and his family.
Well, we sincerely hope that will not be the case in Nigeria. Nigeria is a very...
Henry, when you say we hope that will not be, this is the picture it's been painted, that it's painting already.
Well, we've been there before, we'll have been there before, but of course it didn't work. Maybe it happened during the military dictatorship, when a particular personnel wanted to take over everything, wanted to transition himself from the military to the civilian toga. It did not work. So let's just sincerely hope this will not equally be the case here. But let's take a look at just Vanguard newspaper just before we leave.
All right, from the Vanguard newspaper, all corrupt public officials will face justice. This is on defection matters. And yeah, still out there, we have Ogidi begins Delta PDP revival.
Well, let's take a look at other matters here. Sexual harassment saga. Natasha Adams, Akpabio's lawyer, in new letter. So what do you think we should be talking about there?
Seriously, should be, Natasha has been in the news for some time now, and it's been one controversy or the other. Yeah, for the big story there, we have midday, hunger, unemployment, insecurity, real. Tinubu.
All right. So, Barrister, let's take a look at Delta. That's one area that you understand so very well because you're a stakeholder in that matter. Ogidi begins Delta PDP revival. Is this more like a playing around, or are you really serious?
There's a need to have a revival in PDP in Delta State because most of the principal members of the party have moved to APC. The governor, the former governor, the deputy governor, almost all the House of Assembly members, the chairman, the councillors, almost all of them have left the party.
So is he reviving a dead carcass?
No, there are members.
That's the word.
There are members who do not defect with them. We see. Remember that PDP from 1999 till date, PDP has won election in Delta State. Delta State is fully PDP. Okay. Now, what has happened is that these crooks that stole Delta State money, Okowa to be precise, whom when he was taking loan and stealing money to go and join Atiku in this frivolous elephant project to become the vice president of Nigeria, with Atiku that have no political capital. When he was doing all that, the current governor used to be the Speaker of the House of Assembly then. And he was the one approving all the, the legislature approved expenditure. He was the one approving everything. So his own is just a matter of time. He's to join EFCC after, just because of the immunity. He is as equal and the same in criminal concert with Okowa. It's a collective crime they both committed. So to pull him together, okay, looking at the future, to defect to APC so that they can be protected, was enticing to him, and that is where he got it wrong. Because doing so, they now abandoned party they built from 1999. Delta State is a foundational member of the PDP. So, and then the people, even though they are scared to talk, I am about the only dissenting voice that have been heard all over the news in Delta State because they are scared. But when we gather, people are bitter, they are complaining, they are not happy. Even part of the people who follow them to defect we are complaining, but they cannot speak out. They cannot talk. Okay? Then these people now believe that what they did for the state. We say no. We say no, you did not do anything for the state. What you have done, you did for yourself to cover your tracks. In fact, the state is the victim here. Because it is the resources they use to run down the state that they move to APC to protect themselves over. And so it is not something that the states or statesmen should clap for these people. Or somebody said, no, look at the crowd that came out in the DC. You ask yourself, how many of them in the crowd really understand what was going on? How many of them in the crowd understand?
Yes, but don't you think those are possibly the foot soldiers?
Those are people mobilized, okay, to come out to witness that nonsense.
This is what we all know the politicians do. They have mobilized audience too.
They are mobilized.
So people feel their popularity.
They will call their followers and say, go and get 40% from your community, get 50% for your community. They will give them money. When they get to community, they just share. On that day, you see the whole place. Everywhere will be. In fact, some people will come, some people who are not even paid will come there to ask for their own.
So what particularly will now be the hope for PDP in Delta State? A state we all know that.
The PDP is not hopeless in Delta State. Saraki, one of the leaders of the party, I was talking to Segun Showumi this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's going around really coordinating. He was with Saraki yesterday, and he's going. I like that he has vision. You see, let me tell you something. When Tinubu was the only one in AC, if Tinubu had abandoned AC then to jump to whatever, would he have become president today? The time comes when you have to stand principle. The Tinubu will all vilify today. The sacrifice. There is no governor or past governor in Nigeria that have been probed as much as Tinubu have been probed. None. Because we can see him today as, but at a time when the Southwest have been consumed by PDP, he was the only one standing and he stood his ground. And today, he was the one who devised the strategy that ruined PDP. Single-handedly. You understand? So even when he had the opportunity to become the vice president in 2015, he turned it down. He took Osibajo. He said the man is patient. He knows he knows when to strike. Give it to him. I mean, if there's some person that says, this presidency may not happen. Let me rush and go and become vice president. Let it add to history. But no, he brought in Osibajo. Osibajo went there and did it. When he was saying Emilokon, it sounded strange to us because this is democracy. Why should you be your turn? It sounded strange to us, but he knew what he was talking about. It looked like he was convinced that I have done everything, I've given all, including bringing PDP down. PDP swore that 60 years they'll be there.
Like I have paid my dues already.
That is how it sounded. Yeah, I'm sounding this morning as if I support the president. I'm not a fan of the president at all, but give it to him what he did before he got to where he is. He really did a lot. So you don't just come and soil a political party and think you'll get away with it just because of the EFCC and some other law enforcement agencies that are investigating you. It's not done. It's wrong.
Very true.
That's not leadership.
And Jane, one would ask if really we've got such kind of personality within the PDP that could really hold on to
it, because
Saraki himself, has gone from one party to another, and one would question the principle.
And there's hardly any of these people who have not had to defect from one party or the other. We talked about yesterday about defecting, pitching tents with the government that be. Without looking into the adverse effect of all of this. There's a story I don't want us to take away from. Yeah. It's still in the on the guidance newspaper. Vanguard, I beg your pardon. We have PDP blames APC for workers' hardship insecurity. What do you make of this, Barrister?
Well, that is what opposition will do, even though their voice is not strong as opposition. You understand? They need to get vibrant opposition, because if PDP gets a good opposition and a good spokesman, the APC have committed enough sin for a good spokesman to sink them, because the evidence is great. See, you don't need to do much. All you need to do is just keep reminding Nigerians how their life were before and how it is now. That's what Lai Mohammed did. The failings of the PDP, he amplified it. Okay? Even the PDP, when they were in power, things were not as bad as this.
Very true.
So the way things are now, to the point where people are not able to eat, your job is done. So all you need is a vibrant spokesperson for the PDP. Act as opposition, do your job as opposition, drown them, and let them sit up if they can. If they cannot, then you move on to take power from them. It is not actually the time for you to be moving, your men are moving from PDP to APC. What is the attraction there? It's just to protect criminal liability, to forestall criminal prosecution for Delta State. That's exactly what it is. So if the party knows exactly what they are doing, they should strategize now. The Nigeria is at its lowest ebb. Okay, politically speaking. The APC have lost credibility completely, if they had any before. So this is the time that PDP need to build ranks, consult widely, roll out strategy to dismantle whatever it is they came with. Because we are better off under the PDP, really.
All right, now that we have the House looking like it's in divide, what strategy would then work for them?
The House, that's the problem. Because the war in PDP itself is even bigger than the one in the APC. So for that lack of, because it's still the same selfish ambition, if they have a collective goal, if they have a common philosophy, they will put aside their differences now that nature has edged them to a point where APC can easily be defeated. Yeah. You understand? They'll keep their differences, but no, you will not see, they will keep fighting until they are not able to hold the center any longer. Mm. So they need to wake up and do the right thing.
Well, let's just sincerely hope that they do. Okowa, I find Okowa actually stated once that it's possible Atiku might equally jump ship from the PDP. We do not know where he would be moving to. Maybe the same APC, so they can just spoil the what is bad already. Well, let's just hope that will wrap up. But I will have to leave now. I have other interesting stories here. Sexual harassment saga. That is a minute version of PDP against the APC again with Natasha and Fabio. Barrister, 60 seconds, please, if you may. How do you think this would end up? The feud between Natasha and Fabio? Because Natasha is not holding out. She is really going strong.
No, but she's failing right now.
Really?
Yeah, because if you are playing this kind of game, have you heard the conversation between her and Professor Mbeke, the woman? The woman have released everything. You go and listen to it. Natasha's case is dead. She has spoiled everything she built. Because in her conversation with the woman, she explained how Obios Ekwesili and others were sent to that meeting to disrupt it. Because the woman was on her side and they were both working. She didn't know the woman was recording last night. It was really last night. The woman released everything last night. Where even Natasha was making statements against the Nigerian public. That he knows how to handle the Nigerian, how gullible they are and all that. It's there.
Wow.
It was really yesterday evening, so you may not have seen it.
Yes, I haven't.
Yeah, so when you get back, you go and listen to, the woman has released everything. At Populous camp, they are jubilating now. Because Natasha has been completely rubbished. All the interviews, the phone calls with her, whatever, laughing, talking, she'll be making that everything was geared towards her political ambition to become the governor of Kogi State, and so many, made a lot of revelations that has gone far to show that a lot of things are fabricated.
Well, she's a very smart,
she may come out and say,
let's say it's AI generated. She's very outspoken and she understands the game even better than lots of politicians do. And let's see that how that turns out. But we just have to leave it at this particular point, Jane. Yes.
All right, we must appreciate Barrister for being part of the show this morning.
My pleasure.
Yes, and just to say he will still be here. You have to take us on our main conversation. When we return, over 71 billion naira missing as ICPC flags illegal deductions. Education Ministry summons varsity heads. Do join us again.